You know, this is one thing that really ticks me off about Nolan and his Nolanverse is that he tries to put this realistic spin on everything Batman, so that we as fans are led to believe that, oh, this Batman can live in our world. How cool is that? But guess what? I don't want to see that. Batman, in essence...
Wait, you're getting into something else.
I'm going to go all over the place. Okay. Batman, in essence, is a story that involves surrealism. It involves fantasy. That is how we all grew in love and fell in love with Batman and his mythos and his character.
Okay, I have a response to that. So you say Batman involves fantasy, it involves all that stuff. I do agree, and a lot, but you have to admit that a lot of his supervillains are rooted in actual, realistic situations.
I do agree with that.
He probably has the rogues gallery who has the most, realistic depiction of somebody who could actually live in this world sort of villain. Agree?
I agree.
Now, also, too, do you agree that with our previous Batman films we've seen that route of caricature fantasy sort of, route already taken?
That was in 1990s.
I know, but do you agree with that?
What?
So we've seen the ridiculousness, we've seen the fantasy. Don't you think that we needed something more like this? Wasn't it a good departure from that?
I'll agree with you in that, but I don't understand how they had to cut off their leg at the same time. Why alienate yourself from any possibility of having a character like Clayface, a character like what's another mythical type character? Ra's al Ghul,
Killer Croc.
Killer Croc.
But listen.
Why?
You took. I mean, think about who they had. They had Scarecrow, they had the Joker, they had Bane, they had Talia al Ghul, they had Ra's al Ghul. Though you're stacked already for the set of movies that you're planning on making. You don't need anybody else. You knew he was only going to make 3 films. You were not satisfied with who they put as the villains?
I just don't like that they were constricted to villains that had to appear hyper real in this hyper realism that Nolan wanted to create. To me, these weren't Batman movies. To me, these were Batman cop crime dramas.
No,
these did not feel like Batman movies to me at all. These felt like exactly what I said, cop crime dramas, and you just put Batman in there for the hell of it.
Do you prefer Batman and Robin?
That's an unfair question. That is not a fair question to ask.
It is a fair question.
No, I do not.
It is a fair question.
No, it is not fair at all because these are different decades. Batman and Robin and Batman Forever came out in the 90s. We're now in these Nolan movies. Yeah, they're more grounded in reality. These came out in 2000, in mid 2000s, and
so you didn't like the tone of these movies.
That's something else I want to talk about. I didn't like the tone. I didn't like how depressing it was, and it left you without hope, just like Man of Steel did. And I was pissed off that Nolan had to be a part of Man of Steel because I was like, great, Nolan. Now you're gonna bring your sad.
Don't you think
you're gonna bring? Hold on. You're gonna bring your hyper realism and your sad tone to this Man of Steel movie, and then that's exactly what we got.
Okay. Don't even talk about Man of Steel if we're talking about Batman Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, because I feel completely differently between those two movies.
Still had Nolan.
Okay, but listen,
touch.
Don't you think that the Dark Knight trilogy was a great sort of juxtaposition between what was going on in Marvel at the time, the Avengers? You had your comic book movie there. You had your fantasy there. Wander on over the line over to DC, and now you're getting something a little bit more real. Don't you think it satisfied 2 major sort of things you wanted?
I guess, but why couldn't DC do both? I mean, DC can do real and DC can do fantasy. I think it really, irritated a lot of fans that, this whole realistic approach to Batman, because it didn't feel like their Batman. It didn't feel like my Batman. And it
was grittier. It was awesome. It was.
Did you see the fight scenes in these movies?
I did.